Making money while traveling sounds like a dream come true. It is something not everybody gets a chance to do. The latest trend says that you can do it if you become an influencer, but this is not the only way. There are many other ways that will allow you to travel the world, get paid for it, and save money at the same time. Today we're going to tell you how Louise and I did it for 5 years. A journey that took us to some of the most remote and exotic destinations around the world. Some of them we didn't even know existed before we went there. So if you want to know more about how we did it, watch this video. We did it by working on cruise ships. Have you ever thought you could have dinner on top of the surfboard building in Singapore? What about skydiving in Hawaii? Spending a romantic evening in the middle of Australia? Or just riding an elephant in Bali? Well, Louise and I have done this and more. If you already saw our introduction video, if you didn't, you can click up here and watch it. You know that we've been traveling for quite a while now. The idea of this channel is to take you to the places that we've been to and tell you some secrets that we've learned on the way. But we believe it's important to begin talking a little bit more about how we did it. Especially because it's a little bit of a complicated topic. If you are actually Googling for information about it, you have already found out that there's lots of different mixed reviews online. Some people say it was amazing, some people absolutely hated it. But we want to begin this video by telling you to not let anybody else's experience influence your decision. For Louise and for me, it was amazing, and it has been one of the most rewarding things that we've ever done. There are three kinds of people that are going to be watching this video. The first ones are the curious ones. All those people that just saw the name in the video and wanted to know a little bit more about what was inside. You guys are going to learn today about a completely different lifestyle that you maybe had no idea existed. The second ones are the cruise ship passengers. All those people that have been on a cruise ship before but are actually interested in learning more about the people that works and lives on board. Some of you might feel identified a little bit with this video because we're going to answer some of the questions the crew gets asked by passengers when they're on board. The third ones are the seekers. All of you guys who are actually looking for information on how to work on cruise ships. Hopefully this video will inspire you to begin your adventure. Now it is a very extensive subject, so down in the description below we're going to be time coding the different points we're going to be touching during this video, so you can find them a little bit faster in case you're looking for something more specific. Also, it is important to point out that we're going to be talking here about our personal experience on board cruise ships, and of course with the company that we worked for, which is Princess Cruises. So of course the experience will change depending on the company that you work for and the position that you apply for. In my case, I was in the photography department and Louise was in the food and beverage department. But let's get started.
How to apply for a job like this?
Like any other job. First of all, you need to know that most cruise ship companies work through manning agencies to recruit their crew members. These manning agencies are located around the world, so the first thing that you need to do is find the manning agency that you would need to apply with. In my case, my agency was in Mexico City, and in Louise's case, well, she didn't need one, because she is from the United Kingdom, and if you are British or you live in the United Kingdom, you can apply straight with the Carnival Corporation office in Southampton. Now for you guys that are actually looking for a job in cruise ships, down in the description below as well, we left the links to some of the manning agencies that some of our friends have used to embark their ships. If your manning agency is not down there, let us know which one are you looking for and we'll do our best to find it for you. Once you go into the website of your manning agency, you need to look at the available positions that they have and follow the instructions on how to apply. Sometimes it is by sending your CV through email, sometimes it is by filling an online questionnaire. Then, like in any other job, you will have an interview, then you will have an English test, and if you pass both of these, they will give you the process that you need to follow before you embark your first ship. The length of the process will depend on the manning agency that you are using. In my case in Mexico, it was exactly 2 months from my first interview to the day I embarked my first ship. Depending on the company that you're working for example, for us in Princess Cruises, the company pays for your flights to embark the ship and then to go back home at the end of your contract. But some other companies, like Royal Caribbean, you have to pay for your own flight to get to the ship, and they only pay for your flight to go back home. When this happens, some companies, not all of them, but some of them, will reimburse you the money for your first flight once you are on board the ship. You must know that there is no way for you to choose your ship or the itinerary that you're going to be doing during your contract. These are assigned to you once you are hired. Don't worry in advance about the itinerary that you're going to be doing. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about a cruise ship? Exotic destinations, which means that it doesn't matter what ship you get assigned to or what itinerary, you're in for a treat. Just to lay as an example for you, on my first contract I spent 4 months swimming, biking and sunbathing in the clear blue waters of the Caribbean. Not bad, huh? Some itineraries will be more exotic than other itineraries, but come on, you are already traveling around the world and being paid for it. Remember that most of the experience that you're going to have while you work on cruise ships is going to depend on your attitude towards the job and your attitude towards the places that you visit.
What are the requirements?
The requirements will depend, of course, on the company that you're applying for and the position that you're applying for. But there are 4 basic ones that every cruise ship company requires. First of all, you need to have a fantastic English level. Most cruise ships are going to have English as their official onboard language. Also, 90% of the passengers on these cruise ships are going to speak only English. Your boss and your teammates are going to talk to you in English. So it is not also important to speak English, it's also important to understand English. It's gonna be really hard for you if you embark your ship and you don't have a strong level of English, because it's just gonna make it tough to try to understand why your boss or your teammates are trying to tell you. Eventually as well, you're gonna turn into a safety hazard, because if you don't understand or don't know where you're supposed to go in an emergency, you put people's lives at risk. If you pass the interview and the exam but you don't really feel that your English level is so strong, I recommend you to download an app called Duolingo. Duolingo has a free version and it's absolutely fantastic if you are trying to improve your language or try to learn a new one. The second one is, of course, experience. Being honest with you guys, manning agencies don't really care what degree do you have or even if you have one. What they want to know is that you have experience in the position that you're applying for. That is the most important thing. Time on board the ship is precious. It doesn't work the same way as it works when you live on land. And when you embark the ship, even for the first time, you are expected to already know what you are supposed to do and only will require some direction to do it on board. But no one on board will want to spend extra time teaching you from scratch what you are supposed to be doing. That is why experience is so important, because your team will rely on you embarking the ship and start working. A seafarer's visa. Oh yes, once you embark the ship, you are officially a seafarer. And for this, you will need to have a visa. Once you pass your interview and your English test, the next step would be to get your seaman's visa. The process is basically like any other visa, so technically if you have not been convicted and you have never been deported from any country, you should have no problem in getting it. Your agency will tell you how to apply for it and they will even give you some paperwork so you can actually prove why you're applying for it. When I did my visa, it was around $160 and it's valid for 2 years. A medical certification. And finally, you're gonna need a medical certification to work on a cruise ship. Of course, because they couldn't just make it that simple, you cannot just go with any doctor and have it done. There are specific doctors assigned by every manning agency that can give you this document. Your manning agency will tell you who they are and where do you have to go. The medical certification, it's not cheap, I'm not gonna lie to you. My recommendation would be to not begin the medical certification process until you get your visa approved. Because if your visa is not approved for whatever reason, you cannot be hired. So if you already paid something for your medical certification, you're not getting this money back. So wait until your visa is approved. Now, as I said, the medical is not cheap, but once you are in this stage of the process, you basically already have the job. So it would be foolish to turn back. When I applied, my dad helped me with part of the money for my whole process, but he couldn't help me with all of it. So my mom and I went to a flea market and sold a bunch of stuff that we just found, clothes, toys, random little things that we found around the house, so I could get my process finished to embark my ship. 5 years later, I have traveled to 6 of the 7 continents, I married a beautiful woman, and we moved to live to London. So flea market, it was worth it.
What does the job involve?
Well, this is one of the parts where a lot of people get scared. Once you embark the ship, your family and friends are actually going to start wondering if you do any work at all. Because your social media is going to turn into this amazing ocean of images of you with some friends enjoying an ancient city, or enjoying the sun beside the pool, or you drinking a cocktail, swimming with your friends in a blue ocean. And yes, the job has this amazing side to it, but of course, you need to work hard for it. When you sign your contract, you are signing for 13 hours of work, 7 days a week, for 6, 8 or 9 months. What? Okay. Let's repeat. Yes, 13 hours of daily work with no days off for 6, 8 or 9 months. Now these 13 hours of work, you are obviously not going to work them straight every day. There is something called the International Labour Organization, which controls the work of crew members on board ships all over the world. It basically says that you cannot work more than a specific amount of hours a day without a break in between. So yes, you are signing to work 13 hours a day. But to be honest, you're not gonna reach 13 hours every single day. This will be, of course, depending on the department. Some departments do work between 10 and 13 hours every day. Some other departments, in my case in the photo department, sometimes we used to work 6-hour days. So it's not bad. And if these breaks happen during the time the ship is in port, is the time that you're gonna have to actually go out and see stuff. The amount of work, the shifts that you have, the amount of breaks that you will have as well will depend, of course, in many things. The department that you're applying for, the manager that you have in that moment in that department, for how long is the ship going to be in port, if the ship is in port, because of course the hours change if the ship is at sea the entire time, and also if there are any special events happening around the ship on that day. In Louise's case, it was a little bit harder because, unfortunately, as she was in the food and beverage department, well, on port or at sea, restaurants and bars remain open. In my case, in the photo department, it was a little bit easier life, as well as, for example, in the boutiques on board, because when the ship is in port, the photo gallery is not open and the boutiques are not open. So you get more time. Of course, the job comes with a free accommodation. The accommodation will depend on the position, the department that you're working for. For example, for the photo department, the spa department, or the shops department, just as an example, you share a cabin with one more person, you two have your own bathroom, there is carpet on the floor, and you have a little mini fridge. Another position, for example, the officer positions, they live in bigger cabins. Not all of them share cabin with someone else, and actually some of them have a double bed and a window. That was Louise's cabin. Then you have positions like the waiters or waitresses on board the ship, who share cabin with one more person, and then 2 cabins share one bathroom. And in case of some other departments, like the laundry department, they share cabins between 4 people. Accommodation is free. Food is free. You have no bills. What does this mean? That your entire salary is just for you. So yes, you will have the chance to save a lot of money. You will have the chance to do a lot of things when you go out, and you will have the chance to spend more money than you would usually spend on land. But don't forget, if you want to spend money and also save money, you need to be a little bit clever about it. But we're going to see about it further on in the video. Working on a ship, it's tough, especially during your first contract. Your first contract, you're going to receive a lot of information. My recommendation is don't try to get everything at once. Even if they give it to you at once, try to go little by little so you can actually understand what you are being told. Another bit of a tough part during your first contract, it's going to be the interaction with people that comes and goes from the ship. Of course, people comes, people goes, contract finishes, contract starts. Sometimes you're going to get even 3 different bosses in one contract. What people on land usually lives through 5 or 6 years, you are going to live it in 5 or 6 months. You're going to have friends that in 2 weeks they're not going to be there anymore. You're going to see people coming and going. You're going to have to adapt yourself to working with 3 different bosses. It is complicated, not only to do it, but also to understand it. But you will get there. Enjoy every second. Even if you only do 1 contract, it's a fantastic experience. And finally, you will have safety duties.
Good afternoon, this is the bridge. For exercise, for exercise, for exercise. The ship's alarms are about to be sounded for passenger exercise purposes only.
The safety duties, of course, will depend on the position that you hold. Passengers depend on crew members in case of an emergency to get to safety. So when you have trainings, sometimes they might be a little bit annoying, especially when they are in a port day because you want to go out, but you can't because you have training. But they are very, very important because in case of an emergency, they can save your life. Don't worry, it is very, very unlikely that you will ever get to the point of abandoning ship. I mean, I was there for 5 years, Louise was there for 8, and the only emergencies we had were technical emergencies where passengers are not even involved, so they'll be fine.
Different departments on board.
A cruise ship is like a little city. You have between 1,500 and 2,000 crew members only working on board the ship. As we've said before, the experience, the time off, of course the money that you earn, and the cabin where you live will depend on the department that you have on board. But there is one thing that every single department will get you the chance to, and it is saving money. Departments like the photo department, the spa, boutiques, entertainment department are considered, in Princess Cruises, staff departments. These staff departments will get the best of both worlds. You get the chance to go out, but you also get the chance to save money. Also, I don't know if this happens with other companies, but at least with Princess, the staff departments are the departments that are allowed to wander around the ship freely when they are not on duty. So you can also enjoy the ship itself. Bar department, restaurant department, including waiters and waitresses for both. They will have a little bit more work on board, especially because, as I said before, when the ship is in port, some of the bars and the restaurants remain open. So you will have a little bit less time to go outside. This doesn't mean you'll never get time to go out. But these are 2 of the best departments to save money. You will work hard. Sometimes when you go out, you're gonna be on a rush. Some people that I've seen doesn't even change their uniform. They just put a jacket on top. But you will see the world, you will save money. The galley department. The galley department, I just mentioned it because it does give you a lot of experience if you were just in cooking school or you studied for to be a chef or something like that. Working on board galley on board the ship, for whoever doesn't know, the galley is the kitchen on board the ship, will give you experience that you would never get on land. So if you've worked in the galley of a ship before, when you go on land, you can work in whichever kitchen you want. Now, this department will not give you so much time to go out because, of course, food needs to be prepared and cooked all the time. But not going out also means that you won't spend. So you will save a lot of money. But again, the main reason you want to be working in this department is experience. The purses department, it's the front desk of the ship. Now, you do need to have a lot of patience to be in this department because this is a department where passengers are going to go to request for things and also to complain. There is also a back office where you have administration officer and also passenger relations manager officers. So even if you like numbers and paperwork, there's a place for you on board. You will have time to go out, you will have the chance to save a lot of money, also either share a bigger cabin or maybe not share cabin at all. Bridge officers and engineers on board the ship are more specific positions that not all agencies hold. If you don't know, the bridge on a ship, it's the control room and it's where the captain works. These are positions that basically mean that you're looking for a career at sea. They are positions where you can grow a lot professionally. Most of the people in these positions have been or are planning to be at sea for more than 20 years. Princess Cruises does hold two different positions as well that I'm not sure if other cruise ship companies have or how are they called. One of them is the future cruise consultant. Your job on board is to sell future cruises to the passengers on board the ship. Believe it or not, they buy their future cruises while they are on a cruise. And the other one is the Captain Circle host, who is in charge of all the members of the loyalty program for Princess. These are considered two of the nicest positions on board the ship. You do not work directly with a specific team, and you do get a lot of time to go out.
Time off, spending, and saving.
Right. The very first and most important thing that you need to remember when you step your first foot on board the ship is that at the end of your contract you're going to have 2 or 3 months of unpaid vacation. So you need to save as much money as you can during your contract for this period of time. Of course, the more money you save, the more you will enjoy your holiday. Now, saving money doesn't mean that you can't spend money. A lot of people is worried about how are they gonna save and also go out in the ports and do stuff if they need to save. But you can do both things at the same time. We're just gonna give you a recommendation of how we did it when we were on board. We split our paychecks in 3 parts. So let's say that you're earning $1,500 a month. $500 go to a fund for vacation period at the end of your contract. $400 go to a fund just to save money for whenever you decide to leave ships. And you have $600 left to spend during that month in the ports in whatever you want. Now, if you do this for 6 months, at the end of your contract, you will have $3,000 for vacation, and you will already have a fund of $2,400 for whenever you decide to leave ships. £3,000 for a 2 months holiday? Not bad. $600 might not sound like a lot, but remember that in here you're spending a lot of time on board the ship, you're paying for nothing else, and basically this money it's only for you to go outside. Sometimes when you go out you will not really buy a lot, maybe just a coffee or a cake. Some other times you will need it for a tour, for a taxi, for a bus, or to hire someone to take you around. But it is more than enough. There is a crew bar on board the ship. Yes, there is a bar specifically for the crew. The thing with this bar is that drinks are gonna be very cheap. So it is very easy to lose track of how much money you're spending there. Don't go crazy with the crew bar. Go to the crew bar, have fun in the crew bar, but don't give all your money to the crew bar. You're basically getting paid to give the money back. This is the place where we see most of the people go a little bit wrong with their finances. So be very careful with this. If you want to save money and also to do stuff in the ports, you need to be clever about it. As I said before, saving money doesn't mean not spending money. Actually, we do recommend you to spend money when you go out in the ports. If it's for a coffee, if it's for a taxi, if it's to eat in a nice restaurant. So spend the money, but be smart about it. As smart as you need to be also with your time off. Sometimes you might be running a little bit in the port when you go out because you need to come back to work, but it's worth it. Remember, the experience that you're gonna have during your contract, it's going to depend on your attitude. So even if you have 2 hours only to go out and see something and get a coffee and take photos, because you never know, you might never get the chance to go back to that place. Now, when I was doing the British Isles itinerary, I spent basically every Southampton day running to get a train to go to London. The train to London, it's 1 hour to get there and then 1 hour to come back. I had 5 hours off, so minus 2 hours of train, I had 3 hours. 3 hours to go to London. I invited so many people, so many times to come, and they said it was not enough time. And yes, 3 hours is maybe not a lot of time, and I had to kind of be running to come back on time to the ship. But on my first visit, I went to see the London Eye and Big Ben, walked around the Thames, bought an ice cream. On my second visit, I went to see Buckingham Palace. On my third visit, I went to see Tower Bridge and the Tower of London and all that. So if you are organized, you can do it. It doesn't matter if you only have 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Go out, do it, risk it. I mean, at the end, if I knew I was gonna end up living here, I might not have actually taken the risk of not getting back on board. But in the moment, it was worth it.
Online reviews.
As we mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you're actually looking for a job in cruise ships, you have possibly been Googling and found that there are lots of mixed reviews out there. Some of them say it's amazing, some of them absolutely hate it. But it really depends, as we've been saying, on your attitude. Sometimes you will not have so much time to go out. Sometimes you won't even go out at all. But you need to focus in the things that you have done rather than in the ones that you haven't. So yes, maybe yesterday you didn't got the chance to go out in Kuala Lumpur, but today you are walking around the street markets in Hong Kong. You know what I mean? Louise and I have looked at some of the bad reviews that you can find out there. And we've learned that they actually come from people that maybe forgot that they were there to work. You do get these people a lot when you're on board of the ship. They believe that they're there to travel and they forget that they're actually being paid to be working. You should never forget that traveling is a perk, but you're really there to work. You won't be able of going out in every single port that you want to go out, or maybe you won't have as much time as you would like to have. And this is where some of the bad reviews come from people that wanted to go out somewhere, didn't got the chance, so they didn't like the job. As I said before, Louise and I loved it. It was amazing. We did so many things while we were working on the ship, and not only with the ship, we also did a lot of things during our holiday periods, because we were saving during the contract, and then on the holiday periods we were traveling even more. Create your own memory. Create your own experience. Try it. Even if it's only for one contract, at least you know you tried and you didn't like it. So stop looking at reviews and just go for it. If I had been afraid when I read those reviews, because I read them, I wouldn't be here today.
Perks of being a crew member.
As in any job, of course, being a crew member on board a ship has its perks. Now, these are going to depend, of course, on the company that you're working for and, as we've said before, on the position that you hold. But we're going to mention our favorite ones here. Lots of others you're going to find out once you are on board ship. The first one, it's going to be also one of passengers' more often questions. Don't you get bored of doing the same itinerary over and over again? It is not boring at all. On the contrary, you get the chance of experiencing the same place even more times than passengers themselves, because you keep going every 7, 14 or 20 days depending on the cruise. And if you didn't got the chance to go out this cruise, you might get the chance to go out next cruise. So it's a very big perk. Another perk, and this one is specifically with Princess because we don't know if other companies have the same thing. As a crew member, you can apply for free tours. Even better, you know in advance the tours that the ship is going to offer to the passengers, and then you can either apply for them for free or pay for them. If you plan properly, you can speak with your manager to get to see if you're gonna have the time off, or to figure a way to actually get the time off. Louise and I did that so many times, and that's how we got the chance to do all these things, because we were planning in advance. And speak with your manager. If you don't get the free tour, it is worth sometimes to pay for it. You do get it at the discounted price. Another perk that will depend, and it actually happens more often in the United States, it's that when you show your crew ID in some places and some museums, you get free entrance or a discount. This happened to us when we went in San Diego to the US Midway, where if you show your crew ID, they let you in for free, and also in Long Beach when we went to the Queen Mary, the same thing. So there is not really a list of the things that you get free or discounted as a crew member, but if you ask every time you go somewhere, you might get a lot of no's, but every now and then you'll get a yes, and it's worth it. You'll also find out about it from other crew members that have been on board for longer or did this itinerary in another contract. Now, there is a rumor that says that if you show your crew ID in the Apple shop in Honolulu, you get a discount. It is a rumor, we heard it several times in different ships, but we never got the chance to actually try it. I mean, we were too busy enjoying Waikiki Beach. Princess also had the chance for you to pay for your own flight to go home if you wanted to go somewhere else after disembarking the ship. and they would refund you the money they would have paid for your flight. That is how Louise and I ended up traveling together to Mexico or to the United Kingdom, wherever we were going to spend our holiday that time, together. And the last one, and this is our most favorite one, again, Princess Cruises, there is something called local leave. Not everybody knows this exists, and you can only apply for it after your second contract. Local leave basically is asking the company to delay your flights to go home for a couple of weeks, so you can stay in the place where you're disembarking or around it for those full 2 weeks. Of course, you have to pay for your accommodation and your transportation during those 2 weeks, but at the end you still get the flight to go home, paid for by the company. This is how, for example, we did Japan. We disembarked in Singapore. We applied for local leave, asking the company to extend our flights from Singapore to the United Kingdom for 10 days. Then, once it was approved, we booked a hotel in Singapore for a couple of days, a flight from Singapore to Japan, and then a flight from Japan to Singapore to come back right on time to get our company ticket back to Mexico or to the United Kingdom or wherever we were going afterwards. We applied the same thing in Australia. We were disembarking in Sydney, so we asked the company to delay our flights for a week, and we traveled to the middle of Australia and then left from Australia home with the company flights. Remember, you cannot apply for this one until after your second contract, and you do need a lot of planning, but it might be a fantastic way of seeing some of the most remote places that you would not actually pay a flight to go if you were at home.
Be smart with your vacation periods.
Guys, as I said before during the video, not all the places that we've done and seen, we did them on board the ship. We've been in more than 55 countries around the world, of which 30 we did with the ship. The rest, we have done them during our holiday periods without the ship. So either we applied for local leave, or we actually flew from home to the places with the money that we saved. But traveling doesn't just stop because you finished your contract. Maybe first or second contract you will want to go home because you've never spent so much time away from your family and your friends. But after your third contract, maybe start considering joining with a group of friends or going by yourself to see more places. Never stop traveling. Right now you see all these Facebooks and Instagrams full of traveling photos, people that spends their lifetime traveling around the world and seeing these amazing places. And the best part of working on a ship, you realize now you are one of them. So don't stop traveling just because you got off the ship. Continue during your vacation period. Plan ahead, apply for local leave, go out in the ports, do tours, spend money, but save money. So there you have it, guys. I know it's a very extensive subject, but we try to include as much information as possible. If there is something that we didn't mention and that you would like to know about, just let us know in the comments down below and we'll answer it. You never know, we might actually do another video. And now that you know the good, the bad and the amazing of working in a cruise ship, please tell us, would you do it? Do you think you have what it takes to work at sea? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like our video and also subscribe to our channel so you can join us in our next adventure. This is all Louise and I have for you today, but we will see you in the next one, and have a fantastic week.